It all starts with a peaceful morning. In the morning, the atmosphere is divided into three different sections. A section of cool and moist air, a section of warm air called the cap, and a section of colder air, which is above the cap. Once the sun comes out, it'll start to warm the lower atmosphere. This allows moisture to build up. In order for air to rise, it needs to be warmer than the air surrounding it. So, once these molecules rise up and crash into the cap, it actually will stop rising. But once the cap ends up breaking, as air molecules get warmer, it'll rise up into the cold atmosphere. Because that atmosphere is cold, it'll be able to build and it condenses into a cloud. This is where a cycle will begin. Once the hot air gets into the colder part of the atmosphere, it will give off heat. This makes it condense into a cloud. When the cloud gives off this heat, it will begin to draw in more air, bringing with it more moisture and making the cloud even bigger. This cycle will continue until either it gets too cold or too dry to sustain the storm. Winds higher up in the atmosphere actually push the storm forward. This makes the rain fall in front of the updraft. That allows air to continue flowing into the thunderstorm and fall in front of it. At this point, the storm can also produce lightning. At this point, the moisture in the storm will begin to stick together and become heavier. When it gets too heavy to rise with the updraft, it will begin to start to fall as rain. Rain can be extremely heavy in thunderstorms, which is one of the reasons why they're so dangerous. Thunderstorms can also make hail. Hail is created when heavy raindrops get sucked back into the updraft and brought up higher into the atmosphere, which causes it to freeze. Once it freezes, it falls back down, and it'll continue to rise and fall until it either gets too heavy or it's pushed too far from the updraft for it to rise again. Normally, larger hail will fall in front of the main updraft of a thunderstorm, and it can be extremely large, sometimes bigger than a softball in severe storms. The storm will continue to grow until it either runs out of moisture or gets too cold for air to rise. Once nighttime comes, the ground will actually begin to cool. Normally, big thunderstorms do continue into the night until the ground gets too cold for the air to rise. Sometimes it is warm enough for thunderstorms to continue all night and even into the morning, although this is less common. Once the ground gets too cold, the air will stop rising. This cuts off the updraft to the thunderstorm. The downdraft from the falling rain and hail will continue until there's no moisture or rain left to fall. Everything that goes up must come down at some point. The clouds keep on dissipating until there is no more cloud left to disappear. Then once the morning comes, if all the ingredients are right, it allows the system to start all over again.